Hello everyone. Submissions are in for the 3-card blind main event tournament for February, and while you wait for the results to be posted, I thought I would share a couple of fun deck lists that were submitted. Frankly, I will say that I don't expect that these are going to be top performing lists, but they're super cool, so I wanted to make sure that they were highlighted so that people didn't miss them. I think many players were aware that the Leyline of the Guild-Pact, Ancient Tomb, Scion of Draco deck was going to be a serious contender for this month. For that reason, I wanted to highlight Hobo Joe 455's Leyline of the Guild-Pact deck for being especially creative, even if it doesn't pack the same punch that Scion of Draco does. Hobo Joe's list was Leyline of the Guild-Pact, Dryad Arbor, and Leyline Binding. Thanks to Leyline of the Guild-Pact, the Dryad Arbor will have all basic land types and therefore will discount the Leyline Binding by 5, and Dryad Arbor will also be a plains and therefore can produce white mana, so you manage to, across all 3 cards, get to play Dryad Arbor as your threat and Leyline of Binding as a piece of removal. There is no doubt in my mind that there's probably better ways to play a threat and a piece of removal across 3 cards, but this is a really fun use of Leyline of the Guild-Pact. Next on the list we have Apex Predator, who was playing Crawling Barrens and 2 copies of Sol Ring. This deck gave me a good laugh, but the more I think about it, I don't think it's actually that bad. Crawling Barrens grows faster than Chronomaton, and because it's a land, it can be immune to a lot of different types of removal. In addition to that, compared to Chronomaton, not only is Crawling Barrens growing faster, but it can attack while it is growing, making it a very potent threat, and a fast one too. The final deck list I want to highlight was submitted by Kurogi. And if you are a veteran of the 3-card blind format, you may have been anticipating that this deck would show up at some point, but it actually hasn't been submitted to the main event tournament yet. The deck is Karakas, Aether Vial, and Mangara of Korondor. The combination of these 3 cards has some unique synergies. If you're unfamiliar with this combination, the first thing I want to highlight is that when Mangara uses his ability to exile target permanent, him exiling himself is part of the ability and not the cost. The significance of this is that we can use Mangara of Korondor's ability, targeting one of our opponent's permanents, and while that ability is on the stack, we can use Karakas to return Mangara of Korondor back to our own hand. This means that when Mangara of Korondor's ability does resolve, it will still exile the targeted permanent, but Mangara of Korondor won't be on the battlefield and therefore won't exile itself. Thanks to Aether Vial, we can also redeploy Mangara of Korondor. Altogether, this makes it very difficult to actually stick a threat to the board against Mangara of Korondor. He's only a 1/1, but in a lot of matches, that's going to be enough because the opponent can never put down anything to block him. Of course, there were many other really cool decks submitted for February, and I'm looking forward to sharing them later in the month once the results have all been calculated. And until then, thanks for watching, and see you soon.